Hi everyone. Thanks for sticking with us.
Changed it up, so I'm on this side. You can see my emo hair.
Yes. We thought it featured his emo hair a little bit better.
So I run with a hat on, and then, so I do my hair every day, but then by the evening it gets crazy.
It's like this.
I usually have to wear a hat during
Or,
show.
well...
The best advice I maybe ever got was from that coach that, so there was a coach, I was in my 30s, but there was a coach I would talk to, and he would say stuff to me about, I always wore a bandana, and he would say stuff to me about, if you can't keep your hair in check, you should just shave it all off. And he was 80. And coached Bird and stuff.
Sounds like something an 80-year-old would say, right?
Yeah, he was obsessed with a lot of things that
Right.
8-year-olds are obsessed with, like kids texting and playing video games and so forth. But he's a good guy. I liked him, even though I know he made fun of me.
It's crotchety.
Because one time we were talking on the cell phone, did like a quick interview, and then he thought he hung up on me and didn't, and was talking to his assistant coach and was like, saying shit about how my hair was always crazy. I needed to cut it off.
Uh-huh.
I was like, alright, bro!
What do you think he would say about it now?
He'd be like, well, so I took his advice too.
Yep.
I always took his advice after that. I was like, alright, that is actually sound advice. And I got cut every 3 weeks max. But right now, you know, COVID times.
Yeah, those are the before times. So I haven't had a haircut since March or February, and you haven't had one since
like, I don't know.
It was this like
I've gotten two
fall.
since COVID.
Yeah.
And you know, I talked to my barber, who's great, and I was just like, you know, I think we should keep it long because I don't know when I can come back in and shit. So, but she was really good about it. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, that's the addressing his hair, which he talked about more about his hair than I have. Yes, so that's why he was wearing the samurai bun the other night, Dottie.
Oh, is she giving me shit?
Yeah, Dottie was giving you shit. All right, let's go ahead and open the wine.
I'll get your seltzer out here. Or do you want to do the little reach around?
No, I can't fucking reach around all this.
Circumvent you.
Why don't you just do that one? I'll do this one.
A Merlot of the, what the fuck does that say? Bean Bros? Bear Bros?
Bear Bros. Oh my god. What the fuck? Why is this so hard?
Just bear into it, man.
Speaking of Bear Bros, man, you've got a lot of O'Shea's.
Yeah, that's, I think, the standard. Yeah, this is way easy to open.
Yeah, right? Up and over there. Is that black cherry again? Oh my god.
Blood orange.
Oh, okay.
That
Well,
sounds
I
good.
might try that actually.
Double IPA. That's a good one. This is the first one I've got of these.
This is the first blood orange, so I will definitely be trying that.
So tonight is Takeout and Truth. Thank you, Max Irwin, for that. Thursday, where we get takeout, which we did not do today.
No.
We've not been doing takeout since COVID got bad again.
No.
But
we
have been watching documentaries on Thursdays.
And we would love to tell you about all the documentaries that we watched this year that we loved.
We watched a shit ton of documentaries.
Yeah.
So I made a list. She picked 3, and so I went with a series. And I'm just going to briefly talk about some in that series. I watched every 30 for 30 this year, which is fucking crazy.
This is good. Merlot, Bear Bros. Bear Bros.
So yeah, I'll let her talk about 1 or 2.
Okay. So I think my 2 tied for my favorite documentaries that I watched this year. one of them came out in 2018, the other one came out this year, were 306 Hollywood and Crip Camp.
Oh my God, Crip Camp.
So, yeah, like, if you don't know, the Obamas produced this really moving documentary about the first camp for, like, special needs kids. So it was like, you know, it was like summer camp, like, for them, like.
And it went into so all these people were movers and shakers.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them became lawyers and shit, and they basically got legislation changed.
Yeah, so
like,
they went and camped, and, like, because they met each other at this Crip Camp, I think it was called Crip Camp. It was called, like, Camp something, but they all met at this camp, and then they stayed in touch, and several of them continued to go to camp year after year, and it was run by these hippies, but they were really, hang on a second, what are you doing over here? She is, like, playing the tambourine.
Is that what that was?
What are you doing over here, baby?
Oh, she was. She's like breathing into it.
So, yeah, that's what Greta was doing over there. Licking this. I don't know what's on it. But you want to be in the band? Okay.
Well, so the Americans with Disabilities Act, these people were instrumental in getting that.
Yes.
Like, they did sit-ins and stuff, and just truly inspiring documentary.
Yeah, it really was. So if you haven't seen that, I recommend it. And then 306 Hollywood was absolutely gorgeous. These kids, their Jewish grandmother, lived in this house for like 80 fucking years or something. And when she passed away, they didn't want to let the house go. And so what transpired was sort of an excavation and them going through everything.
There was like that whole, so she was Jewish, and there was that cultural thing about how you're supposed to keep the house, or like the ghost sticks around for a year or something like that.
Yeah,
11 months.
Was that Jewish?
I don't know. I thought it was, but
so
not super familiar.
They speak with several experts. They speak with like a physicist about where our bodies go, like these very existential questions and ideas. And they had filmed her every year that they went and visited. They would film her and ask her questions. Peppered throughout this are these videos that they had taken of her asking her all these questions. And it's really beautiful, and it's really well done. And it's not like any other documentary that I've ever seen. I was in love with it.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, beautiful.
So artsy.
Yeah, the dresses.
Oh my god, the dresses.
She was a dressmaker, and they had all these gorgeous dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
306 Hollywood. I don't know where that's available, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. So Crip Camp and 306 Hollywood.
So I watched every single 30 for 30. So if you're a sports person, you're probably familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I got ESPN just for that, and then watched every one, and some of them were, I mean, they all follow sort of a formula. It's like, oh, this tragedy befalls this athlete. Some of them were different, but the ones that stood out, so I'll just mention a few, and then mention a few things about them. So the first one, Small Potatoes, was about the USFL. And it was sort of this rival to the NFL in the 80s. And it was making waves, and sort of, they were pulling a lot of talent from the NFL. And it was sort of like the ABA to the NBA. And then Donald Trump got involved and fucking ruined it, and it went bankrupt.
Of course, right?
Yeah, and then
it ruins everything.
When they talk about it, they're like, this was, all this is all filmed, like, back in the Obama years or whatever.
And they talk hella shit about Trump.
Oh yeah, they talk hella shit. And they asked him about it, and he's like, "Oh, that was all fucking small potatoes. I did what I could to save the league, but
dickwad.
But it was
already due before I got there.
And everybody that was involved, all the owners and stuff, were like, Trump fucking destroyed this league. And I think it's the best documentary about Trump. And totally shows what kind of a dude. That's all I need to know. Is like what kind of fucking
asshole
dude that
was
dude
this
is.
guy?
Is how he treats athletes.
Blood orange was not good. Okay, it just gave me cold chills. Like, I feel like
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's especially bad today.
So there's 130 called Broke, and it talks about all these NBA players and NFL players, just athletes that went broke.
Mm-hmm.
They just burned through their money, and you hear about these guys that make like $100 million,
right.
And you're sort of like, how can you fucking do that? How is that possible? And then you hear their stories, and it's just heartbreaking. Like a lot of them were taking care of their whole families and stuff.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're rich, and all these Klingons come around.
And they were like third cousins who were fucking
come out of the woodwork and want your money.
And these people were, they felt like they were indebted to these people because they had sort of a team helping them to get there, but really they were the ones doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
And they, and then as soon as they went broke, all these people fucking left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really sad. A lot of them were really sad, but some of them. A lot of people that talked in this thing were people that made it out of that situation. But yeah, it was rough. That one's rough. And Catching Hell is about Steve Bartman, who Cubs fans can't even talk about him without raging. In the 2000s, he supposedly interfered with the ball. And then the Cubs, they were up, and then they fucking lost it after that, and it was just part of the whole thing. But they all blamed this spectator, and he didn't even really do it. When they break it down, frame by frame, it was like another guy, but they just blamed this kid, and he won't go to games anymore and stuff. Wouldn't talk to the documentary crew.
Right.
And shit like
His
that.
life was fucked for a while.
Yeah, it still is pretty fucked.
He was the most hated man in Chicago, maybe in the Midwest. Like, he was... Cubs fans, I remember that, and I'm not even like a sports person.
I have a friend who's a Cubs fan. Shout out to Kara Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her about it, or about this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, fuck that guy. Like,
see?
fuck Steve Bartman.
Fuck that guy.
And then there
what
was
else?
Unguarded, which is this Chris Herron story. So I remember this guy when he was in college. He played for Fresno State, and then he was like on drugs. Fresno State in the 90s was a Jerry Tartanian who he coached UNLV, and it was sort of like a last stop, like last athletes that were really good that had no more chances would go to Fresno State and play for this Jerry Tartanian guy. And this guy that made out of there was this Chris Herron dude, and he was like this little white guard. And I think his dad was a senator or a congressman or political dad. Dad was into politics and stuff. And then this guy, he's got the talent to go to the NBA, but he was really into crack cocaine. And they're doing this interview with him, and he's constantly like, yeah, I played for the Denver Nuggets, and I was in my warm-ups, and I went in pre-games and smoked crack cocaine. And then it's like, cut to the next team. I was playing for the Boston Celtics, and I was in my warm-ups, and I was in the alley smoking crack cocaine. And just repeat, and he keeps going down levels in basketball until he's like not playing anymore and
just
giving
smoking
speeches.
crack in the alley, I guess, is where that goes.
He's like, I was playing for, in China for no money, and I was in my warm-ups smoking crack cocaine. And so on and so forth. I've got a few more.
Okay.
So I'm not even going to get into like the Jordan one and stuff like that. I might talk about those next week. But the longer ones I'm not going to get into. So the last ones I'll mention. So Say Out, that one scared the shit out of me. That was the one that, concussions, CTE.
Oh.
And, I was a college football player. I played for 12 years. Played football for 12 years and had a couple concussions and had a headache every day after practice. And then you got this guy who killed himself because of CTE. And I'm a little nervous. My memory isn't what it used to be, as you will often tell me.
I should talk. Like really.
I used to have total recall, but you're always like, you don't have total fucking recall. You forget everything.
Well, okay, so maybe just what you choose to remember.
Yeah.
So not total recall. It's like selective recall.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, you have the best memory of anyone I've ever known.
Just because
my best friend.
Fucking happened 20 goddamn years ago, you think that means you have fucking total recall?
Well, there's stuff that I'll be able to. I'll remember. I remember very vivid details about weird stuff. Right?
All right.
And it's all in there.
Yeah.
And it just takes me a little while to like open up those drawers, but it's all in there.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So the last two I want to mention. Last Days of Night, which is about Bobby Knight. And fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy, seriously.
It was when he was getting fired from IU, and they just kept giving him chance after chance and stuff. And the shit he does to this Neil Reed kid was fucking incredible. He was like going on this choking tour of like 1998 or whatever. He was just choking the shit out of everybody. And he choked one of our friends at a Mexican restaurant in Bloomington.
In Ellisville.
Sorry. And now he's back.
Now he's back. And he's like a racist piece of shit. And
Trump
everybody's
supporter.
excited about him being back in Bloomington. For whatever reason.
Even liberals I know.
I know.
Are
I get
stoked that Bobby Knight's back.
Well, I think it's because they're nostalgic for the days where IU was like good and they were winning.
Yeah, well, now we have a football coach who's winning, and is not an asshole,
Right.
I might add.
Not a fucking asshole at all. Who's really amazing.
Yeah, his mantras like love each other and shit. And we saw him at a Black Lives Matter rally, like hugging his players and shit.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Tom Allen.
Yeah, he gave. Wow, you know.
Hey, speaking of total recall. He gave a really wonderful speech at Aaron's company's party last year for their Night of Champions, and it was. I mean, I don't give a shit about football, but it was impressive, and I was.
You were a little moved.
I was taken by his character.
Yeah. My friend Jesse.
Yeah.
He coached him in high school.
Really? Okay.
And he was like an assistant coach on his Ben Davis high school team. Okay, last one I'm gonna mention is Tommy, which is about. So if anybody's seen Rocky V, they'll know Tommy Morrison, Tommy the Gun Morrison, who was a boxer in the 90s. He's a white dude with a mullet and a blonde, curly-haired mullet, who was not a very good boxer, I wouldn't say, and a worse actor probably. Rocky V didn't happen, by the way. They just retconned that whole shit. But this is about his life and times. Gave himself a tattoo when he was like 9 years old or something.
What was it?
It was a boxing glove. He ended up being a pro boxer, so I guess it makes sense. And so this guy his claim to fame was he got HIV in the 90s, and then became an AIDS denier, and then died from stupidity, basically. He said stuff like, "Oh, I've got this bad poison ivy on my arm," and it was like a KS Legion and shit, and people were like, "You're obviously suffering from," and he said he had like a spider bite and shit like that, and got down to like, he was like 100 pounds, was a heavyweight champion and shit like that. Yeah. Okay, this is going off the rails. So we're going to wrap it up.
See you tomorrow for day 18.
18, yeah.
So are we 19, 20,
Tomorrow might be messy.
Yeah.
I've got a friend coming over. He's isolated.
Yes.
Lives alone and stuff, and he gets a COVID test every week.
And only comes to see us, so.
Only comes to see us.
We love you, Kevin.
Yeah, so, I'll probably be pretty sloshed.
Yeah.
Alright, well, see ya.